What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Fantasy Puck video. I'm your host, Mike, and today's video is going to be on players to buy, sell, or hold. So I'm going to give you a list of players, and I'm going to tell you whether you should buy them, sell them, or hold them. Some of these players you may own on your roster and you don't know what to do with them, and hopefully this video gives you enough advice to make a decision. Now, let me know in the comment section below someone you regret dropping this season. For me, someone Jordan Kyrou early on I dropped, but I ended up picking him up. Definitely regret it early on and missed some of those early points. Make sure you join the Discord. We have hundreds of awesome fantasy hockey fans. If you have any trouble getting in, let me know. And let's try it for 150 likes in this video. So before we get into it, make sure you leave a like. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. We're closing in on 5,500 subscribers. For my sport bettors out there looking to gain an edge on the field, head over to Prize Picks and use code PUCK to receive a 100% deposit match up to $100. All the links will be in the description below, and if you have any trouble with any of them, just let me know. Without further ado, let's jump into the buy, sell, and hold players video. Starting this video off, I want to talk about Vladimir Tarasenko of the St. Louis Blues. You're probably not surprised to see a Blues player here. This team is honestly all buy lows, and I've said it in my last video, and I'll say it again. The buy low window for this team is slowly closing, but for Tarasenko, he missed last game due to illness, and he is projected to miss this game as well due to illness, meaning fantasy owners may become complacent on him and want to sell him, making it a perfect time for you to buy. He's at a 0.8 goals per 60 rate, a minus 50% from what we saw last year. Tarasenko was one of the best goal scorers in the entire league, and I wanted to look into his shot rate because maybe he's not shooting the puck enough, and that's leading to his goals dropping significantly, but that's not the case at all. 9.2 shots per 60, a minus 1.7 rate from what we saw last year. Not enough variance for us to just say he's not shooting the puck enough, and actually his shot attempts are barely down this season at 0.2 lower shot attempts per game from what we saw last season. So still around that 5 mark, which is what you want to see for your forwards. His minutes are up this season, 17 minutes and 55 seconds. He's still playing the body at 1 hit per game. Tarasenko has solid shot volume and hit volume. He's in a top 6 role. He's on power play 1. There's a lot to love out of this player with a massive 30-plus goal season last year. You're looking for 250 shots, 30-plus goals, 70-plus points out of Tarasenko. If anyone's going to turn around this Blues team, it's going to be Tarasenko. Moving on to arguably one of the most dreaded picks this season if you drafted him, Mortiz Seider of the Detroit Red Wings. I took him in just one league, but at 95% ownership, owners are just not happy with what they've seen this year. Now, there is some good news. He's finally back on power play 1. They were experimenting a little bit with Filip Hronek up there, who's actually had a very good season offensively. But it looks like Seider is back on that power play 1, which is where you want to see him. But the thing with Seider is that he's more of a Jacob Trouba style defenseman where you're going to get a ton of peripherals, and the points are just kind of like the cherry on top. So his peripherals have been very good this season. His 82 game pace is actually better than what we saw last year. His shots are down a little bit, 145 shot, 82 game pace, but almost 200 blocks and over 150 hits. Just very, very elite peripheral numbers from him. And the one thing I really like about Seider that I think is kind of goes under the radar is that he does have a 100% reliability percentage, meaning he did not miss a game last season. So you're going to get a defenseman that is not likely to get injured. He's still young. This Red Wings team is still trying to figure it out. With Bertuzzi back, they're going to be a little bit better offensively. And honestly, when people are panic selling players like Mortiz Seider, a very elite defenseman, drafted maybe top 5 defenseman in your league, maybe top 10, you want to be trying to buy these players. So I'm trying to buy in here on Mortiz Seider in all my leagues. Moving on, another pretty dreaded pick for me this season, Seth Jarvis of the Carolina Hurricanes. Left wing, right wing eligible, which is very positive and just 29% owned. His ownership has dropped nearly 40% since being drafted, and he is off to a really bad start in his sophomore season. 18 games played, just 6 points, 3 goals, 33 shots, and 17 hits. Not what you want to see from Jarvis when you drafted him this season as one of the biggest sleepers going into this year. But nothing is really trending that bad down for Jarvis other than being moved off Aho's line. But he is playing on the second line right now with Svechnikov, who has been very good this season, and with Kotkaniemi. So I think there is still a lot to like from Jarvis, and I'm going to tell you why. 3.83 shot attempts per game right now, up plus 1.2 from 2021. Now, his shot through percentage is down around 8%, and what this stat means is just getting the puck on the net when you shoot it. Last year, it's at around 55, 56%, and now it's down to 47%. So, I mean, he only has one season of sample, and it's likely that this is the new norm for Jarvis, but his on-ice and possession numbers are just among the league's best right now. 65% on-ice Corsi for percentage, 18th best in the NHL. When he is on the ice, they have an 18.29 expected goals for and just 9 goals for. And I've found this when watching some of the Carolina games. Like, Jarvis is dominating, his line is playing well, and he's just looking up into the rafters like, come on, just go in the net. Now, his minutes are up this season, 16 minutes and 4 seconds average time on ice, plus 2.5 from 2021. It doesn't seem like a lot for a forward, but someone on Carolina, they really like to spread their minutes out. I think Svechnikov plays a little bit over 18 minutes per night, and he is one of their best players. So with Jarvis, I'm looking to buy on him right now, especially in those deeper leagues. Jumping over to players that I'm looking to sell right now, Hampus Lindholm of the Boston Bruins. And the first thing I want to say is, if you watched the Sleepers video, I'm so happy you drafted him. He has already paid off his ADP. He was around ADP 150, meaning he was being drafted very late in 12 or 10 team league drafts. And this season, he has 18 games played. He's at a point per game with 18 points, 37 shots on goal, 22 blocks, and 21 hits. And for those players in those dreaded plus-minus leagues, he has been extremely good. He currently leads the NHL with a plus 21 rating. This Bruins team has been exceptional this season, and Hampus Lindholm has really sparked into that number 1 defenseman role. He is currently top 5 in defenseman points this season, a very, very big surprise. And I was watching the Buffalo broadcast, and they mentioned that, and I was extremely surprised. But McAvoy is now back, and that was the worry when drafting Lindholm, is you were going to get about 20, 25 games of very solid production, and then the production would start to decline. So now is a perfect time to sell on him. McAvoy looks like he has transitioned back into that power play 1 role. Lindholm, honestly, he's not very much of a power play quarterback, but he was given that opportunity, and that did contribute to his high point total. His minutes are starting to decline, 22 minutes over his last 3 games, now that McAvoy is back to full force and starting to play big minutes again. But you may be able to actually get some sort of high-end forward for Hampus Lindholm. You could look to get someone like Jonathan Huberdeau, who everybody is currently selling on, someone like Jordan Kyrou, Pavel Buchnevich, even Tarasenko. Hampus Lindholm is definitely a sell at this point in the season. If you drafted him, good job, but don't hold on to someone because he's a favorite of yours. Moving on to the next player that I'm looking to sell, Kevin Fiala of the LA Kings. It pains me to say it because I've been a Kevin Fiala fan for the past 2 years on this channel, not going into this season as much, but he still holds quite a bit of name value, and I do think that you can get some value out of trading Fiala at this point in the season. Some things are trending down. One thing I want to note here before I get into his numbers is that LA actually has the most games played in the NHL with 21. So the rest of season outlook for Fiala compared to someone with 16 games played like we see in Colorado right now, and I'll jump to a player next on that, is just a little bit lower with Fiala. So his shot rate is down this season, 8.7 shots per 60, minus 2.2 from 2021, 4.04 shot attempts per game, so under the 5 shot attempts per game threshold that I really like to see out of my forwards. And his hit volume is actually down this season at 0 hits per game. And, you know, Fiala's not really a guy you draft for hits, but you want someone with solid hit volume to really add to that floor. 5.9 shots per 60 on 5-on-5, which is actually despicable, a very, very low number. So Fiala gets a lot of his shots over on the power play, minus 4 shots per 60 from 2021 on 5-on-5. He was a dominant 5-on-5 forward over in Minnesota. He actually didn't really play power play 1 in Minnesota until a little bit later in the season, and he still put up great numbers. But now he's playing on the power play 1 over in LA, and he's struggling quite a bit 5-on-5, and this is something you just don't want to see out of your forwards. He is currently the leading scorer on LA, and when I was looking through players, I was kind of surprised about this, but this does actually, it should help his value when trying to trade Kevin Fiala. So his name, leading scorer, but his rates are all down this season. I'm looking to trade Fiala and try and acquire maybe a top-end defenseman or a better forward with a higher rest of season ceiling. Leading off the players to hold segment of this video is my boy Arturri Lehkonen. You guys know how happy I get when I get to talk about Lehkonen, but he is just 64% owned over on Yahoo, and I saw people in the Discord that were completely panicking on his struggles the last 2 weeks, and I don't think there should be any panic on him. He's currently line 1 and power play 1 on the best offensive team in hockey. He's playing alongside some of the best offensive players in hockey with McKinnon and Rantanen, not to mention Makar. His 21 minutes and 7 seconds average time on ice gives him a 6-minute increase from what we saw in 2021. He is 11th in the league currently for percentage share of possible ice time, meaning he's playing amongst the most elite rates in forwards in the entire league. Now, Colorado does have 16 games played, as I mentioned in the previous segment, the least games played in the NHL, meaning they should have a little bit more of a heavy schedule moving forward, and that's something you want to see when trying to hold or acquire a player. Now, like I mentioned, he has played 73% of his minutes this season with both McKinnon and Rantanen. Together, they have 182 shots for, 120 against at a 60.2% shots for percentage. But look at this goals for percentage. 26 goals for, just 4 against as a trio. 86.67% goals for percentage, just outstanding numbers. They are outchancing their opponents like crazy. 75 high danger chances for, just 42 high danger chances against, a 62.5% rate. There should be no panic on Lehkonen if he continues playing in this massive role like we've seen all season. Nichushkin's out, Landeskog's out. Lehkonen is their guy up front on that first line and on the top power play unit. Moving on to the last player that I am still holding strong in my fantasy leagues, Matt Boldy of the Minnesota Wild. Left wing, right wing eligible, 77% owned over on Yahoo. He has had a very bad November, but his October was very good, and I think that's indicative of what we can look at moving forward. 9 games played, 8 points, 29 shots on goal, and a 17% shooting percentage over in October. And then he has struggled immensely in November, and people are panicking about him. 9 games played, 3 points, 25 shots on goal, and just a 4% shooting rate. So his shooting rate dropped 13% in November. I don't think there should be too much panic from him. There is a lot of upside we're seeing here when digging into his numbers. 5.6 shot attempts per game, so above that 5 shot attempts rate that I like to see, plus 1.5 from what we saw in 2021. He's averaging 3 minutes and 55 seconds power play time on ice, 3rd on Minnesota, and you know he's playing with Kaprizov on that power play 1. That's what you want to see from any player on that team, just whoever gets minutes with Kaprizov on the power play or 5-on-5. He's averaging 19 minutes and 11 seconds average time on ice, so you're getting a top 6 forward with big minutes and a big increase from last year, plus 4 minutes from 2021, where he actually broke out last season. Now, his on-ice numbers are great, a 68.85% scoring chances for percentage, 9th best in the NHL, and a 67.74 on-ice goals for percentage, 32nd in the NHL. He has very good possession metrics right now. He is slumping in November, making it a perfect time to either buy low on him or to not panic and hold him on your roster. That'll do it for the buy, sell, and hold players video. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like. And if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you all in the next one.